Hello everybody, it's Bangkok Ian here. Well, greetings from a sweltering Bangkok. It is absolutely boiling today. It's just gone 5:15 in the evening, and I've been wanting to make a video on my balcony all day long, but it's just been too bloody hot. It's been like, 37, 38, 39 degrees Celsius, which feels more like 45 degrees with the humidity. Oh, bloody hell. We're in serious hot weather right now. I've had the aircon and the fan going all day long. Yeah, I'm a bit warm today, but it should be start to go dark in about an hour, so hopefully get a little bit cooler. But yeah, I hope we're all doing okay. It's been a week since I was last in front of the camera, and I just thought I'd give you a quick update on how's things going over here in Thailand, and I'm also gonna do a video on my favorite 90s hidden gems, because I loved doing the one a couple of weeks ago about the 80s hidden gems, so I'll come up with a 90s version. So yeah, so I'll just go through what's been going on the past week here in Bangkok first, then I'll get to the meat of the video. Thailand is starting to come around from the COVID-19 virus. Finally, we're taking ginger steps towards normality. I've been in the office every day this week, just me, only me going in. I've told my staff just stay at home, and from next week I'm going to ask one person to come in, and the week after another person, so next week there'll be 2 people, week after 3, 4, 5. I think that's probably the best way to do it. That way we can see what it's going. If it all turns to shit and the lockdown comes back, it'll have a minimal impact, so we'll see. But yeah, domestic flights have started now in Thailand, which is good for me and our business, because we were having lots and lots of problems trying to get our people to the various places they have to go in Thailand, because there was only one domestic airline operating up to last week, but now pretty much all the domestic airlines are back operating as of May the 1st, which is great news. A lot of my people still in quarantine. I had 4 Thais who were working in Myanmar, and they got caught up in the virus situation, and there were no flights. There's still no flights out to Yangon. There's still no flights arriving into Thailand, unless it's like repatriation or emergency flights organised by the embassies. So my Thai employees, 4 of them, they got in a car, went to the Thai-Myanmar border. They had to wait for like 6 hours, filling in paperwork. They had to have a medical beforehand to prove they didn't have the COVID-19. And then when they did cross into Thailand, they had to spend 14 days in a government facility, not a hotel, not in the comfort of their own homes. They had to stay in, let's say, not the best of accommodation, but they're in Thailand, and in around 3 or 4 days they'll have finished their 14-day quarantine, and they can finally go back to their families. That's a big relief. And what else? Yeah, the restaurants have all opened. Oh, and as you can see, barber shops have opened. Had my hair cut on Tuesday. Oh, massive relief, because when my hair gets slightly long, again, I think it might be due to the heat, but I just can't sleep very well. But when I have short hair like this, I tend to sleep better. So yeah, I'm so glad I managed to get it cut, because if they hadn't opened, I have ordered one of those electric trimmers. I do have it just in case this happens again, but I didn't want to use it because I'd make a balls up of it. I just know I would. But yeah, went to the barber shop. It was bliss having my hair cut. And also all the restaurants have opened up now. So part of the reason I've been to the office every day this week is that I wanted to eat in a restaurant every day of the week, and I have. In my office on Sukhumvit 13, there's a really great German restaurant. It's also a bar, but of course you can't serve alcohol right now as part of the restrictions, but they can serve food now. And yeah, so I've been having breakfast there because I get to the office around 8 o'clock in the morning. So just have breakfast there and then go to the office, and it's been great ordering food. I've been going there as well for lunch as well. Oh, I've missed restaurants so much. It's been great going out. All the malls are still closed, but they're saying maybe next weekend the malls will be opening. But again, there's going to be restrictions. For example, in all the restaurants, there's around half the number of tables there normally is. Like in the German restaurant that I go to, yeah, it's half the number of tables, and they're quite large tables. So it's like a dining room table you see in the movies, really long tables with one chair at either end. But at least I was ordering food and ordering restaurant food because I was sick to death of my own cooking. And yeah, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the malls are probably going to open next weekend, but again, there's going to be restrictions. They were saying that if you go into the mall, you can only stay for maybe 2 hours maximum duration. They've not announced it yet. It may or may not happen. We don't know. But I can see them putting some limits on how long you can stay there. Because the thing is, here in Thailand, all the malls they've got fantastic air conditioning, and when it's so hot like this, you get a lot of people going to the malls just to stay cool during the day because they've got food courts, really cheap food. So a lot of people go there in the morning and stay there all night because it's so cheap and you can stay cool. So I don't know how they're going to do it, but they're talking about having limits to how long you can stay in the mall. So we'll see. We'll see. Something else happened this week as well. For the first time in my life, I've been the victim of credit card fraud. I got a phone call from American Express around 2 weeks ago saying, Kunir, we've noticed a strange transaction with a credit card from Google. And I said, no, don't worry about that. That's for YouTube Premium, because I've just started YouTube Premium where I don't have to pay for, I skip all the ads, there's no ads on YouTube, because I use YouTube a hell of a lot, watching videos at night. I love YouTube, I watch so many videos every day. So I've decided to pay for the Premium. And so Amex called me saying there's a strange transaction on my credit card from Google, because I don't buy anything from Google Play, nothing apart from this YouTube Premium. So I thought, it must be YouTube Premium. So I told Amex to authorize it. Yeah, it's fine, don't worry. I did it. And then I started getting SMS messages from Amex again. There's been another charge. I think it can't have been. Google Premium, it's only once a month. So I called them up, and someone has gotten hold of my Amex number at the same time that I was paying for YouTube Premium. So what I thought was just YouTube Premium, no, someone's got my number and they've charged 175 quid to this IGG mobile game. It's an absolute bastard. 175 quid they fleeced from me. Anyway, Amex sent me the whole list. They were very smart. It wasn't 175 all in one go. It was like 15 quid, 15 quid, 15 quid, 15 quid, just below the suspicious limit that'll automatically alert the credit card company. And so, fuck. I'm not sure if I'm going to get the money back. I filled in all the forms and sent my passport and all that good stuff to Amex, and I've also cancelled both my Amex and my Visa card because I'm not taking any risks. They've done it once on my Amex. Could they do for my Visa? I don't know. So I've cancelled both. So right now I've got no credit card until maybe Tuesday or Wednesday next week. So yeah, be careful. Never happened before. I've never been the victim of any sort of fraud like this before. So it's a lesson, and thank God it wasn't more. But yeah, it's not good. But yeah, that's enough of the weekly update. Now I'm on to my 90s hidden gems. Now hopefully some of these you'll be familiar about, you've heard of. They aren't the biggest hits of the decade, but they're some of my favourites that should have been a lot bigger. And pretty much all these I've watched recently or listened to or looked at recently. So here we go. Oh yeah, I've also stocked up on beers now. You can buy beer. So yeah, last Monday I went out to the supermarket, got stacks of beer in. Oh, that's so nice. Okay, my 90s hidden gem. It's a compliment to my 80s hidden gem movies, which I really enjoyed making, and so here's the 90s counterpart. Okay, movie. Miller's Crossing. I absolutely love this movie. It's by Joel and Ethan Coen, and this was their decade when they made by far their best movies. Absolutely brilliant. Miller's Crossing. It's a gangster movie. Stars Gabriel Byrne and Albert Finney, and the usual complement of the Coen brothers acting troupe. So many great cast. The screenplay is absolutely brilliant. Cinematography by Barry Sonnenfeld, who went to great things afterwards. He made The Addams Family and Men in Black, and he was the director of photography of this. And it's one of my favourite films of the 90s. I can watch it multiple times. The bit where he's talking, the hat, the movie's about a hat. It is absolutely brilliant. Story's excellent. Screenplay is absolutely, it's a work of art, man. You watch again and again and again. It's that good. Albert Finney is a master with the Thompson. Okay, and comedy movie next. I've written them down so I don't forget. It's another Joel and Ethan Coen movie. This is the one I'm going for is the Hudsucker Proxy. It's like their version of the 90s 30s screwball comedy. It stars Timothy Robbins, Paul Newman, and it's absolutely hilarious. And again, it just looks the dog's bollocks. It is so funny because I love screwball comedies, and you just don't get them made anymore. And this was the last screwball comedy that I can remember of watching that was any good. Yeah, there was that one before that was What's Up Doc with Ryan O'Neal and Barbra Streisand. I thought that they're so rarely made these days, screwball comedies. And the Hudsucker Proxy is absolutely brilliant. It's very funny. And if you've never seen it, I urge you to go and watch it because it's absolutely brilliant. Okay, my favourite hidden gem band of the 90s is a band called Air. It's like they're a French instrumental band, like a French electro. Some of the tracks have vocals, but a lot of them don't. And I think they're absolutely brilliant. And I love Moon Safari is by far their best album, and I listen to it all the time, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. One of the best albums of the 90s. So yeah, Air. If you've not heard of them, and you've got iTunes or Spotify or whatever, just give them a listen, especially Moon Safari. Excellent. Okay, best game. I'm going to go for System Shock. Again, this was a crime that this didn't become the massive hit that it should have been. It Okay, Ultimate Underworld came out before it, but it's by the same development team, Origin, Looking Glass Technologies. System Shock was the absolutely brilliant it's finished. First person cyberpunk game. It's absolutely brilliant. Without System Shock, you would not have any of the BioShock series, any of the Deus Ex series. It laid the groundwork for so many games. It came out at the same time as Doom, but it was far, far, far better than Doom, if you ask me. I bought it twice. I bought the original floppy disk version, and then around 6 months to a year later, I think it was about that long, they released a CD-ROM version with a high-res version of 640 by 480, and all the logs, all the audio logs were actual audio, they weren't text anymore. And what a game. It got a sequel in System Shock 2, but I just prefer the original. And they're remaking System Shock 1, hopefully this year, if not next year. And I can't wait to play that game, because it's one of my favourite games of all time. System Shock. It was so influential. Ken Levine, Warren Spector, all my favourite game devs, they loved it, and they based so much of their later games on System Shock. And it's just so cyberpunk. Oh, excuse me. Okay, where are we? Comic book. I'm going to go for Daredevil, The Man Without Fear. This was by Frank Miller and John Romita Jr. It's the retelling of the origin of Daredevil. Now, Daredevil is one of my favourite comic book characters, and I was just lucky enough to be old enough that when Frank Miller started writing Daredevil 158, was it? I was already collecting Daredevil at that time, and I remember getting his first Daredevil. He wasn't the writer, he was just the artist for the first couple of issues, and then I was drop dead gorgeous. The artwork was absolutely amazing, so there's so much emotion in the art. And then he started taking over the writing duties as well, and I just fell in love with Frank Miller ever since. And Daredevil, The Man Without Fear, one of the best retelling of any origin stories. The story's brilliant, and the art by John Romita Jr. Oh god. It was a 4-issue limited edition, and I've got the hardback for it as well. It's brilliant. I absolutely love it. So yeah, that's my comic book. TV show, Hidden Gem. I'm going for, you've probably all heard of this, Sliders. You don't hear much about Sliders anymore, and that's a real shame. It ran for, was it 5 seasons back in the 90s? Jerry O'Connell was the main star, but to me the main star was Jonathan Rhys-Davies. I think he's Welsh. He was in all the Indiana Jones movies and lots of other. He was in the Lord of the Rings as the dwarf. Was it Ghibli? And absolutely brilliant series. I love Sliders. I don't think they could do it that well anymore, because all the TV series you get these days, they all have to be interconnected. But Sliders, I loved it because it was most of them were all single episodes. There were a couple of 2-parters, and they were, generally really, really good too. But I just loved how they would slide into different, parallel universes where it's a completely different way of life for people, and one was dinosaurs are still alive, and very, very inventive series. I absolutely loved it, and I hope they do some sort of a reboot. It will never reach the heights of the original Sliders, but we'll see. What's the final? Oh, the final one is my comedy TV series, and if you saw my 80s Hidden Gems, you might know what this is going to be. In my 80s Hidden Gems, I chose Gary Shandling's show. And for my 90s counterpart, I'm choosing the Larry Sanders Show, which basically is a Gary Shandling character, but now he's acting as a late night TV host. It aired on HBO, and it was absolutely brilliant. It was airing around the same time as the Jay Leno, David Letterman furore over who was going to take over the Late Show, and they had that into the plot lines, and it was brilliant. They mixed reality and comedy so well, and Gary Shandling, one of my all-time favorite comedians, and it was amazing. And Rip Torn, he was the number 2 in it, as this really foul-mouthed TV producer, and some of the one-liners and some of the things they got up to. Him and Hank, I still laugh just thinking about it. It is absolutely brilliant, but I've not been able to find it online anywhere. So if I ever see it online, instantly get them, because I absolutely love it. So yeah, there we go. I'm sorry for babbling on. This was a lot longer than I thought it'd be, but I just got carried away as normal. But yeah, so there we go. That's my weekly update and my 90s hidden gems. I might do the noughties next week. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, from a sweltering Bangkok, that's all from me for now then. Thanks for watching. Cheers.